Hello there, you're watching The Pulse on the JoyNews channel, DSTV channel 421, GoTV channel 144. I am blessed Sogah. And coming up this afternoon on The Pulse, government's race against time to get the striking teachers to return to the classrooms may no longer be the case, as JoyNews is learning that talks have broken down between the Ministry of Education and the teacher unions. We are live at the meeting venue where we get the very latest from our reporters on the ground. Also, President Akufo-Addo's push for rich countries to allow heavily indebted poor African countries like Ghana to swap their debt with climate intervention has come up topical in Egypt, where, of course, the COP27 engagements are underway. We'll get the very latest from the president and get you some more reactions. And we're taking you to Parliament as well, where there's a push for the dismissal of the governor of the Bank of Ghana for lending some $72 million to government in this harsh economic times. We'll get the concerns of minority shortly. This is JoyNews, independent, fearless and credible journalism. The Pulse, as always, is brought to you by Global Communities Digni Lu, affordable, safe sanitation. Don't forget that we're also streaming live on YouTube, and our social media handles is at JoyNews on TV. I'm blessed Sogah. Thanks for choosing us. We'll be back with details. And this afternoon, we have a bit of a developing story for you, where we understand that the talks between all teacher unions and the Ministry of Education have broken down. The teacher unions started engaging the Ministry of Education since yesterday over the concerns that the appointment of the new Director General for the Ghana Education Service was undue, and that Dr. Eric Nkansa is not fit to hold office. That has also translated into some more concerns, which led the labor unions, the teacher unions particularly, and the Ministry of Education to start talks at the Employment Ministry yesterday. But the latest we're getting is that that talk has broken down. We'll get you the very latest shortly. But first, we've been looking at the impact of the 48-hour withdrawal of services by teachers in all pre-tertiary institutions across the country. First, my colleague Richard Kojanyako has been engaging some school children as we try and assess the impact of the industrial action.
So this is the Kanda AMA Basic School. It's actually a cluster of schools. We also have the Ring Road East Junior High School, and it's obvious that the teachers are not in class. The kids have a field day. Others are playing. They are doing their own thing. They are not in the classroom. They are loitering around. You see a couple of teachers, but they are not teaching. The schools are opened all right, but the kids are simply not engaged in any academic activity. So you see some of the kids playing football. Others are engaging in all manner of things. What's your name?
Yaira.
Which class are you?
Class 3.
Class 3.
Yes.
So where are your teachers?
They are on strike.
They are on strike?
Yes.
What did they tell you yesterday? Were you in school?
Yes.
What did you learn yesterday?
I learned about how to read English language.
Your teachers came to school yesterday?
No.
So you learned it on your own?
Yes.
But today, what have you been doing?
Me and my friends got four, and then they are teaching us.
Hello, how are you?
I'm fine.
Where are your teachers?
Sir, please, I don't know.
Did they come to school today?
No, sir.
Yesterday too?
No, sir.
So what have you been doing the entire day?
Sir, please, we was in the class and they come and locked the door.
You were in the class and they came to lock the doors?
Yes. It was break and we go out for break.
Okay. So is it lunch time or breakfast?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So you're enjoying your meal?
Yes.
Okay. That's fine. So let me try speaking with more of the school people. Come. Don't run away from me. What's your name?
My name is Sandra.
Sandra. Where are your teachers?
They are not there.
They are not there. What have you been told? Where are they?
They have gone to strike.
They are going to strike?
Yes.
They've gone on strike, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Sir.
So what have you been doing ever since you came to school today? Tell me.
We have been playing ampe and we play football too.
Are you enjoying yourself?
Yes.
You wish every day were today, right?
Yes, sir.
You don't want your teachers back?
We want our teachers back.
Okay. Okay. All right. So what are you telling your teachers and government?
I'm telling them that they should come to school and come and show us things so that we'll learn.
Okay. So this is one of the school pupils here telling me a lot about what they have been through. So tell me, what's your name?
My name is Mozambique Osman.
Okay. So what have you been doing today?
We have not been learning, but we wish our teachers were in school today to teach us, because we will lose a lot before our teachers will come back. And because I don't see if the president we are pleading the president to bring us to do what our teachers need, because some of the parliamentarians, their students are not attending government school. We are the ones attending the government, and it will affect us. It will not affect them. So their future is further than us. We are now coming into the future. So they should help us, and we are pleading them to make our teachers wish for them. That is what we are pleading the government to fulfill. But we heard that they are going for a meeting today, and we know that they will bring a positive answer for us.
Hey, how did you know all of that? That they were going for a meeting today?
And
you listen to the news a lot?
Yes, I listen to the news, because yesterday I heard the news, and we are all sad yesterday, because we knew that yesterday will be a better day for us. We came to school, we did not learn anything. None of the teachers were in the school. Most of us were misbehaving on the compound. That's not good for us, and we need to improve our life. So we are pleading the government to bring us back our teachers.
Of the students there sharing their concerns, and it's not getting any better, because the latest we're getting is that talks have broken down between the teacher unions and the Ministry of Education. Let's get the latest for you. Richard is still monitoring that engagement at the Employment and Labour Relations Ministry. Richard, what's the latest?
So thank you very much, Blessed. I'm not really at the Ministry of Labour Relations, but I'm currently at the national headquarters of the Ghana National Association of Teachers. Yesterday, we were at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. The teacher unions were there, the Minister of Education, the Minister of Employment, plus the Deputy, and other important stakeholders were there as a result of the strike that has been called by the teacher unions. Today, we were on the ground. Yesterday, we were there, and today, what happened was that in many of the schools, the teachers were absent. In some of the schools that the teachers were present, they were not assisting, or no academic work was ongoing. There were a few of the schools that we visited that it was the head that was actually engaging the kids, because they've been instructed to keep the schools open. They should not really close down the schools as a result of that action that has been taken by the 3 teacher unions. So today we've been expecting that they will return to the table to finish the business they have, so that we would know whether the strike that has been called would be suspended or it will go on. But let me engage the General Secretary of NAT, Mr. Thomas Musa. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, and you're welcome.
Thank you. So why is the meeting not taking place now?
Well, I cannot say whether the meeting will take place or not, but I can only speak on the side of the unions, what really has happened. Like I indicated earlier on, we started sounding alarm bell for about 3 weeks now, that there is an issue that must be addressed. But it looks like when we were sounding alarm bell, nobody listened. And we gave deadline to the issues that we felt must be addressed. So last week, just as we were about to address the media regarding the issues, our attention was drawn to a letter. So when we finished with the press conference last week, Friday, we went to the ministry to go and respond to the invitation letter given to us by the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations. And after responding, they wanted to know our concerns. So we tabled all the concerns to them. We could not finish, and yesterday we continued with the meeting. And yesterday, as of the time that we were leaving, we all agreed that, look, today at 2 p.m., we'll meet to continue with our discussion on where we left off. We'll meet today and continue. It was also agreed at the meeting that the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations will send invitation letters to all the parties to attend. So those letters really went out there, and all the unions received our letters. Then this afternoon, just as we were preparing to attend the meeting at 2 p.m., another letter came dated 8 November 2022 with the content pointing to the fact that the matter has been referred to the Labour Commission, and the Labour Commission has been invited to take action. By the content of that letter, and by letter also going to the Labour Commission, it simply means that the National Labour Commission, the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, they've declared a deadlock. And that is why the matter has been referred to the National Labour Commission. And so it will be difficult to respond to any other thing. So we are now waiting on the National Labour Commission, and we'll take it out from there.
As it stands, NATS is not taking part in the meeting, or the meeting will simply not come off.
The teacher unions are not taking part because the matter has been referred to the National Labour Commission. You see, you invited somebody yesterday. 2 letters. The first one came. The first one was dated 7th November for us to attend the meeting. The 8th November, you followed it up with another letter, telling us that the matter has been referred to the National Labour Commission. So the appropriate forum to now meet is the National Labour Commission. So we will be there.
Run by us the concerns of NAT, because it seems that what is being championed is the appointment of the new Director General of the Ghana Education Service. Were there other concerns prior to you calling the strike?
Yes, the National Council of the Ghana National Association of Teachers, the governing council, at its National Council meeting, issued a communique. Some of the issues raised in that particular communique has to do with the revocation of the appointment of the Director General. Also, the opposition of the organization to the contract extension of Mr. Anthony Boateng. We also spoke about the issue of the refund of that's the 44 Ghana cedi 55 pesos, which has to do with the laptop refund, which His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, when he came to our National Delegate Conference in January, specifically in Kumasi, promised that the money should be refunded to teachers. And we've been following up. The thing has not been done. We are talking also about the issues of a professional development, a continuous professional development allowance. There are concerns with the lower ranks promotion. We're talking about the issue teachers in deprived areas, the allowances that must be paid to them. And we are there, and then we also talk about promotion to the grade of Director 2 and Director 1, among others.
Yeah. You also had concerns about regional directors of education who have gone on retirement but still are holding on to their post.
Those ones, when the issue started, we gave a deadline. And so now all of them have been asked to proceed, and they've gotten people to act, and the Public Services Commission is in the process of interviewing. I think they did it about 2 weeks.
And of course, a bit of a challenge there, listening to the rest of the conversation with Richard Kojo-Nyarko. Of course, there's a statement to that effect. We'll be bringing that to you shortly. Clearly, it appears that for the teacher unions, they are unhappy about the latest development. And so government is just providing a bit of an update there that the attention of the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations is now being drawn to the concerns raised by the British area teacher unions on the appointment of a new Director General for the Ghana Education Service, dated the 2nd of November 2022. Point one is that after all of the notice that government is taking and has decided to engage the groups, the labor unrest has implications, and because of that, the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations quickly invited leadership of the said unions to a meeting on Friday, the 4th of November 2022, for some amicable resolution to the impasse. Now, point 3 is indicating that even though the leadership honored the invitation and attended the meeting in the conference room, they had already declared a nationwide strike, and all attempts to get them to call off the strike have proven futile. So because of this, the chief director at the Ministry of Employment and Labor Relations is indicating that he's been directed to bring the matter to the attention of the National Labour Commission for its urgent requisite action. So clearly, government has decided to take this matter to the National Labour Commission. We are waiting what the adjudication process will be. Very shortly, we'll speak to the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. Of course, they are raising some concerns about the latest development. But first, it appears that we have our connections back to Richard Kojonyako. Let's listen in to that conversation, which is underway with the NAT General Secretary, Thomas Musa.
Where 2 or 3 Ghanaians have come together, you find a teacher there. There are even places where you don't have network. Teachers will be there. So it will take time for the information to go to all the places where the teachers are. But we are hopeful that by the close of today or tomorrow, they will get the information.
So you are not returning to the classroom as it stands now. There is no hope in sight for the students, school pupils that can't get their teachers back in the class.
When we get to the Labour Commission, we will cross that particular bridge. Currently, we were at the Ministry of Employment and Labour Relations, and we had a mind of meeting today. And the matter has been referred to the National Labour Commission. So when we get there, we will cross.
What do you say about people that say that you are using the kids as a bargaining chip for your demands?
We will never do that. We are professionals. We are professionals. And so we will never ever go to that particular...
Currently you are on strike.
That is not the issue. That is not the issue. I started by telling you that when there are concerns, and a worker is raising it, the employer is under obligation to listen. Because the labor law provides that the employer and the worker, they must keep the communication line open. So the moment you close the communication line, you create a barrier. And it has a danger and the potential of affecting industrial relations. And that is where we found ourselves.
So as it stands now, our schools will remain closed?
You see, the issue there is this. We are talking about the CEO of the Ghana Education Service.
What would you say?
Chief implementer of the policies.
But people are also saying that you are not the appointing authority. The appointer is there, and he makes that appointment.
These things are laughable. Let me explain something. You see, when you look at Article 195 carefully, take your time and look at it. 2 stakeholders are mentioned there. You have the governing council, you have the president, who is the appointing authority. Then we have the councils, the governing council, whatever it is, which is also a stakeholder. Then you have the Public Services Commission. Now, when you come to the Parent Act, which has to do with the Pre-Tertiary Education Act, specifically Section 19. Section 19 provides for, say, we have the president there, we have the Ghana Education Service Council, then we have the Public Services Commission. Having mentioned this particular law, the next law to mention is the Labour Act. The Labour Act provides that the teacher union should have a collective agreement with their employer. And in that collective agreement, we negotiated for all the items there. And one of the items negotiated for is called scheme of service. And in that scheme of service, the highest rank in the scheme of service, which is in our collective agreement, is the Director General. Maybe somebody wants to tell me that the collective agreement is not a legal document. Yes, I want somebody to tell me that the collective agreement now we have is not a legal. If it's not a legal document, then certainly the labor law will have to be thrown away, because the labor law requires that there should be collective agreement. That Labor Act was passed by our own parliament, and it is the part of that particular parent law that we have our collective agreement. And per that particular collective agreement, since 1974, requires us that any person that occupies that particular seat should be educationist. From 1974, we have had people like Dr. Emin, Dr. Kwesi. We have
Samuel Kunfi. He was one time a Director General of the Ghana Education.
Certainly, he was. But he had a background in education. Check. Go and check. He has background in
I know that he was teaching at the University of Cape Coast.
Yes. You see, the fact that somebody is teaching at the university and the person becomes a Director General, that should tell you that the person has some background in education. It is like all the professors that were appointed. They were once upon a time, they were having some background in education, and they have to leave to go and work at the university. And so when there is a vacancy and you bring them in, so for example, when somebody from Winneba also comes into the service, it doesn't mean that the person is not a professional teacher. No. No, it's not an educationist. No. But maybe because the person there is going through the ranks, the person ended up working at Winneba, KNUST on Legon.
People have also given example that Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, he is a medical doctor and was able to be appointed as the Minister of Education, where they feel he did well in his tenure as a Minister of Education. So why don't you give Dr. Nkansa a try?
You don't give the technocrat work to a politician. The Director General's work is a technocrat job. You need a professional to do that particular work. Minister, you don't need a professional. Minister is about policy matters. Either the policy should be distributive, redistributive, or regulatory. Then when the minister wants a policy to be done, there are people in the ministry that will get it done for the minister. It is for that the chief director in the ministry is a professional. The chief director is a professional, but the politician is not. In the same way, in the Ghana Education Service, the Director General is the chief technocrat. He is supposed to implement the policies, coordinate them, and evaluate them. And he is the person who is supposed to supervise the regional directors, the district directors, up to the school level. That is the work of the Director General. He is the anchor. He holds all the system together. It is not the job for the politician. I repeat, the seat, that particular seat, is for technocrat. Because the person is coming to implement policies. He is not coming to issue out policies. No. You are an implementer. When you come to occupy that, you must know what the job is about. So, for example, when you are going to the classroom, there are three main things you go with. You go with the curriculum, you go with your content, then you go with pedagogy. If you enter the classroom and the children are before you, you have three main things in mind. You are looking at the cognitive, that's how I can affect the mind of the child. You look about the affective and the psychomotor domain. These are things that you are taught as a professional. Okay, so when you go to the school, you know what you look out for. You know that this particular policy, no, it will not work. This one will work. This one will do this. This one will bring this one. Because you, the chief technocrat, you understand the job. And the worrying aspect of the whole thing is that if you look at the current act, the Pre-Tertiary Education Act, The previous one, the power to terminate the appointment of a staff was given to the Ghana Education Service Council. But under the new law, it has been given to the Director General.
Okay, so finally, before we go, what do you tell parents who are watching you right now that the schools should remain open, children should go to school, be playing, or, I mean, what are you telling parents and then the school people? They've been appealing.
The Ghana Education Service will take care of that. That is the work of the employer. Yes, in as much as we are stakeholders, we have concerns. Okay, the schools belong to the employer. As whether the schools should be closed or not, that is the work of the employer.
As it stands now, the strike continues.
Certainly, the matter has been referred to the National Labour Commission, and there we shall go.
Yes. So, as it stands now, there is no hope in sight for the thousands of school pupils at the basic level, the thousands of school pupils at the senior high school levels, because the strike continues unabated. A deadlock has been declared. The teacher unions were preparing to go to that table. The meeting that was held on Monday ended inconclusively, and so they were to return today. But before they would get ready to get there, there is a letter that is directing them that the matter has been handed over to the National Labour Commission, and so that is where they would be having the meeting and that kind of negotiation. So I'm afraid the schools would be there, and now the challenge has been thrown to the employer, the Ghana Education Service, whether to close the school or not to close the school. So the question to close the school or not to close the school is a very difficult one, and it lies on the doorstep of the Ghana Education Service. So from the headquarters of the National Association of Teachers, my name is Richard Kwejinyakon. Over to you, Blessed.
And thanks, Richard, for giving us that update. Indeed, we're just getting the latest there. The talks indeed have broken down. We just brought you a statement a couple of minutes ago from the Employment and Labour Relations Ministry. But the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition says it is getting worried about the latest developments. Let's bring in Benis Imperi-Jechi. She is National Coordinator for GNEC. Thank you for your time here on The Pulse. So it's clear you've listened to the arguments of NAT. NAT says it started with the negotiations with government, and yet government has decided to take the matter to the National Labour Commission. As we speak, no academic activities are taking place on campuses across the country. You're worried, isn't it?
Yes, please. We are so much worried about this situation. Looking at the issues that was outlined by the NAT president, you see that there are a series of concerns about teachers that has not been addressed. And teaching and learning outcomes solely depend on the teacher as a major stakeholder to make sure that teaching goes very well in the various schools. So if the welfare and some petty things about teachers are not being addressed, then it is a serious concern. For us as a coalition, what we are looking at is the welfare of the children, and then their future and the outcome they will bring out of school, especially at the basic level. Already the expenditure at the basic level in terms of education keeps going down. Education financing at the basic level keeps going down because of the priority we also have for our senior high school. It is a very good policy, but we are saying that the welfare of the children is really at stake. So please, the teacher unions, the government, the ministry, they should be able to come to a consensus so that the children go to school. I got so scared when it ended that strike continues unabated. Please, it is so much worrying. Our welfare is with the children. Some of the children who spoke in the news earlier were seen just playing around. Now looking at the cost of transportation and even feeding for the children to go and be in the school without a teacher teaching them is further loss of the state resources. So please, the welfare of the children is so much of a concern.
But then, Benis, at this point, some people are accusing the teacher unions of using, the children as a negotiation tool, which some believe is not the appropriate thing for NAT to be doing at this point. At least return to, apologies for that, return to the classrooms and then continue with engagements or talks with government.
Yes, please. I don't think we'll say that the teacher union are using the children as a yardstick to demand what they need. We are also not happy that they are not in the classrooms. So the negotiation should be at a level where we will know that maybe something good is coming out of it. Then they can return to the classroom. But we are also pleading the teacher union. Once the negotiations are ongoing, then it is very good that you go back to the classroom for the welfare of the children as we wait for something to come out of the negotiations. But the NAT president's worry was that in a meeting that is supposed to come on, the meeting has been cancelled. So what is the way forward? That is why we would say as a coalition that please, both parties should resolve the issue as soon as possible, so that the strike doesn't continue, but it ends immediately. That is our plea to both parties, the government and then the teacher union.
But definitely there's going to be an impact on the academic calendar already. The attempts have started to try and correct what was disrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic. But now, looking at what's happening now in terms of the breakdown in talks, that may further complicate matters, isn't it?
That is our very fear. It will really, really complicate matters because the children has lost so much academic days already, and they are struggling to cover up, to meet up to the curriculum and all that they have to learn within the period that they lost. So if the strike should add up to continue, then it is going to be a very crisis in the education sector at the basic level. It is based on this that we are pleading with both parties to resolve the issue as soon as possible.
But practically speaking,
don't want the strike to continue.
Right, but practically speaking, looking at the demands the teacher unions are putting on the table now, it appears that dealing with them may take some time if we're to go by the list of demands they're putting out there. That may further push the strike into a few more days or weeks. Don't you think so?
Yes, and then I think we said earlier that it is about communication. The teachers have tailored up their concerns to the government for it to be addressed on a series of issues. So it is about communication. If there has been a promise that something will be given to the teachers, like the refund of the laptop balance, once it has been promised, it should be done. And the subsequent one can be negotiated. So the communication is very, very important. So I'm sure that if the communication is in such a way that issues will be addressed or it cannot be addressed, I think it is very key. So the communication should go very well for both parties to understand, so that they know that this is what we are all working at the end of the day. This is what we are getting and this is what we are receiving. So the negotiation should be looked at in terms of how it is being communicated to both parties so that it can be duly addressed.
From the position of JNEC, finally, would you say that we're at crisis level? Are we there yet?
This is education in crisis. That is if the strike continues. Because if we've already lost some days due to COVID and strike is coming up at the education sector, it is a crisis or education in emergency that needs to be attended to as soon as possible.
Bernice Mberi-Juchi is the national coordinator for the Ghana National Education Campaign Coalition. We're grateful for your time. Let's take you now to Egypt. President Akufo-Addo is asking rich countries to allow heavily indebted poor African countries to swap their debt with climate interventions. The president has been addressing the world at this year's United Nations Climate Change Conference, COP27, in Egypt. Ghana is currently facing crippling economic crisis fueled by huge debt. Ghana's debt situation is proving to be a major stumbling block to getting an IMF deal at this time. President Akufo-Addo says the global financial sector or system that left countries like Ghana with little help is no longer fit for purpose. Well, we'll definitely get you what it is that the president has been saying in Egypt. But let's bring in now Awula Sewa, who's the coordinator for the Eco-Conscious Citizens, joining us via Zoom now. And I want to welcome you, first of all, to the program. The president has already started engagement, stating the side of Ghana as we go into climate negotiations this week. But the key issue he's raising about climate funding, it's a challenge for many African countries, particularly knowing that we're facing a double tragedy, recovering from COVID and then the Russian-Ukraine war. And countries will now have to find more funds to deal with issues confronting the planet. So if that's the case, he's made a good call, isn't it?
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. He has made a call, but what I would also add is that we also have to make sure that we do the best we can in our present circumstances. And I can't see that that is presently the case. If we are concerned about climate change, there are measures we should be taking, which we probably are not. So yes, it's good for, I wouldn't say richer nations, because Africa is a very, very rich continent. In fact, perhaps the richest continent. But what I am going to say is that we are not doing ourselves any favors. We look at the way we are allowing galamsey to pollute our lands, to poison our waters, and we're not doing much about it. We look at the way we're allowing structures on Ramsar sites to continue being there, sending a signal that you can break the laws with impunity. So yes, it is good to ensure that everybody plays their part, but charity does begin at home, and we need to get our act together if we are serious about climate change and the environment.
So let's start from home. What should be our priority and what should we be reflecting on as countries and governments and also other partners around the world engage in talks in Egypt?
Well, what I would say is that starting from home, God has blessed us with beautiful, fertile land. We should stop galamsey right now. Have a pause on community mining because we are not able to enforce anything. We've seen how our waters are being polluted. So that's why I said a stop to community mining. And then we should stop encroachment on our wetlands, the Ramsar sites. There's no point going to COP27 and making pronouncements when we don't enforce conventions that we have signed. We're signatory to the Ramsar Convention, and therefore we cannot allow buildings on Ramsar sites. Then we cannot talk about regularizing unlawful acts. We cannot be declassifying parts of the forest, for example, Achimota Forest, which are the lungs of our country, and then turn around and say that, oh, we want monies to implement climate action. We have to be showing that we are actually doing something. We need to inspire confidence. And I'm not sure that our actions at present are inspiring confidence that we are concerned about the environment or climate change.
And so for those who are still in a state of disbelief, this whole conspiracy theory against climate change itself, for those who are still in that state, what would you say to someone about the telling effects of how global warming is still affecting us as a country?
Well, I think unless somebody is very, very blind, climate change is obviously a reality. We've had drought in parts of Europe. It rains when it shouldn't rain. We've had torrential rains. We've got so many things happening that tell us that there's a change in the climate. And we are saying that the change is also due to human activities. And those human activities which are contributing to the climate change, which is going against all of us, we should do something about it. And one of the things we have to do is to take care of our forests. We should take care of our forests, take care of our environment. And I'm saying that currently, we don't seem to be doing so. Our forests are being destroyed by mining, some of it legal mining. We give people concessions to go into forest reserves and destroy the forest. So yes, climate change is a reality, and our activities are contributing to it. So we need to stop those activities, and then we'll be in a better position to be asking other countries to give up funds for climate change.
But many believe that obviously the reason for which the president was making that demand is flowing from our current economic crisis. Many believe that may shift our focus from some of the climate interventions that we've been making so far.
I mean, if we're in an economic situation, I mean, it's partly our own doing, wouldn't you agree? And climate change is a reality, as we've said. And what we need to do right now is understand that we're a sovereign nation. We need to enforce our own laws and regulations. So once we start doing the right thing from our end, you'll be surprised that things will begin to fall into place. We are a sovereign nation. We don't always have to go cap in hand, asking others to come and help us as if we're children. We're a sovereign nation. We've been blessed with a beautiful, rich land. We need to take care of it. We need to nurture it, and you find out that the world will follow. We need to learn from Operation Feed Yourself. We need to stop importing so much. I think a class 1 student could tell us that our economy will be in the state in which it is if we continue depending so much on imports. We should focus on what we produce and export and not so much on imports. And you realize that our economy will improve. And we have companies in Ghana who are, for example, producing fertilizer. So the Ukraine-Russia war, in a sense, has also brought out opportunities for us to depend on what we do and also send it to others. Even during the Ukraine war, Ukraine is still producing fertilizer. Ghana can produce organic fertilizer. In fact, that's so. And we need to focus on it.
And let's look at some of the campaigns you've been running as eco-conscious citizens. The campaign against a ban on noise making and tighter regulations against it. And then there's the Hydra-headed issue of dealing with plastics. So let's start with the plastics. What policy measures should we be starting off with?
Well, one thing we can do is to stop the use of single-use plastics. I mean, a lot of East Africa, whether you're talking about Tanzania, Rwanda, Kenya, I believe they have banned single-use plastics. We look at our gutters, what are they full of? They are full of lots of stuff, but a lot of it is single-use plastics. We have to remember that there was a time when we didn't use plastics and we managed very well. Thank you very much. So for starters, we can stop the importation of single-use plastics. And I have said that in other countries, the UK, for instance, they haven't banned single-use plastics. But what they have done is that when you go to supermarkets, you are charged for plastic bags, and that has had an effect on demand for plastic bags. So the manufacturers will soon realize that the UK is not the best place for single-use plastic bags. And the sad thing is that they may begin to dump it on African countries and Asia. So it's for us to get our act together.
Right. And the issue on the noise making. You're running a campaign on that as well.
We are, because it comes down to enforcement. One of our problems in this country is that we seem to be allergic to enforcement. I mean, noise making is a criminal offense. You're not supposed to make a noise between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. But when there's noise making and you even go to the police, they don't even, well, let me not tar everybody with the same brush. But a lot of police stations, the police officers there don't even, noise making is a criminal offense. So they don't do much about it. And then also the bylaws of the assemblies talk about not making noise that go beyond the confines of your property. But you find churches, beer bars, bola taxis, everybody competing to make noise. And most of the time, the authorities stand idly by. So it's a lot of effort to, first of all, educate the authorities that noise making is an offense. You need to do something about it, because not only does it impact on our enjoyment of our properties when somebody else's noise is invading our property, but it's also damaging our health. In fact, we've had a doctor or doctors testify to the fact that noise making damages our health. It could even lead, in extreme cases, to cardiac arrest. So we need to do something about it. But primarily is to get enforcement enforcement. The laws are there, but they're of no use if we refuse to enforce them.
Right. And we're looking to the outcome of the COP27. Obviously, there's also the aspect of citizens' participation, helping governments and also agencies across the world to make the world a safer place. If there's something that citizens should know about climate change, what would that message be?
Well, the message will be that let's not engage in activities that puts unnecessary pressure on the environment. Let's go back to basics. We all say that when the last tree dies, the last man dies. We know that our trees play a cardinal role with climate change. So let's stop felling trees. Let's keep planting trees. Let's stop declassifying forests. But let's understand the importance of forests to the climate. Also, we have to take care of, realize that water can become scarce if we continue polluting it. So again, we need to let people know that we need to stop polluting our waters, especially with mining. And maybe we need to really consider if the best use of our land is mining. And then again, I talked about plastics, which are having a very negative effect. We need to have a ban on it and go to natural products. So if you're talking about climate change and the environment, we need to just go back to basics.
Awula Sewa, thank you for your time here on The Pulse. And now, Programs Coordinator of Women in Law and Development Africa, Gloria Kankam, has made a strong case for more women to be involved in the management of the economy. According to her, women have proven over the years that to efficiently manage their homes and institutions, giving the opportunity. Speaking on Prime Morning with Rosalind Feli Tuesday, Madam Kankam believes that it's high time government sees women as an integral partner in running the economy.
The society is not made of one gender, two genders. So if one gender is there all the time, he or she will be talking from his or her perspective. We need both genders to bring our issues on the table, and then we agree midway. If you have a deputy governor of Bank of Ghana as a woman, why can't she be on the economic management team? And that is what is affecting us, because when they go, they are not looking at the issues on the ground. At the moment, we don't even have a Ministry of Gender as a cabinet status. Why? All the while that ministry was set since 2001 had been on cabinet status. 2017, this present government took it off. And a ministry with 18 mandates, how do you take it off cabinet? Is the person now going to lobby other cabinet members to take his or her issues across? It's not possible, because they all have their own interest. Everybody, no matter how you feel for Ghana, you also have your interest to push. So it is high time. And look at that same ministry. How many ministers have you changed over for 6 years? 4. The present minister designate she is the deputy. She was. The announcement came in August all the way. Up to now, no vetting, no vetting. If it were to be finance or any other, you think they won't call Parliament to sit and talk about it? So these are all issues that fight against women. They will not feel the way we feel, because they will not go and take care of their sister or their cousin who has given birth for 3 months with no pay, and society does not even recognize it. But if they feel the way we feel, they will not.
Also on the show, a member of WILDAF and Africa Women Leaders Network, Stephanie Kumi, believes that the current economic crisis that has bedeviled the Ghanaian economy can be dealt with if women are given the equal voice.
The sides too. Nobody's talking about all those ones, right? Nobody's mentioning all those ones. Yes, and the few that we have over there are open to so much scrutiny. Exactly. The few that we have over there are open to so much criticism, and it isn't fair. It isn't fair, because we only have a few of us in there, and then yet so everything that we do is open to, it seems almost as if we didn't even want you there in the first place, so everything you do we're going to nitpick at it. You know what I mean?
Watching The Pulse on the JoyNews channel. When we return, we'll talk about child betting and how some groups are concerned that more children may be lured into betting activities. We'll talk about that shortly. Please stay. Welcome back to The Pulse. Now, non-profit organization Child Online Africa is calling on the Gaming Commission to scale up enforcement of relevant laws which discourage children from the business of sports betting. Now, Section 48 of the Gaming Commissions Act 721 on children states that a person responsible for gambling machine shall not permit a child to use the gambling machine or to enter a place where the gambling machine is operating. The group, which has launched this internet awareness campaign 19th November, says it is worried that more children may be lured into betting this month owing to the start of the World Cup tournament. In view of this, Child Online Africa says betting ought to be given a special attention in this month. Joining us via Zoom is the Executive Director, Awo Aidam Amanya. Thank you for your time here on The Pulse. So how much of a worry should it be for us as a nation that child betting still is a problem for us?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, Blizzard, and good afternoon to your viewers and listeners. Betting has been a problem in the past, but it's not as widespread as it is now. Just like you rightly read from the law, spoke to the offline environment where children are expected to walk into a space to bet and all of that. But interestingly now, the dynamic has changed. Children have access to these devices, all manner of things, and they are able to see the betting platforms on these devices. It's surprising to note that sometimes you can have access to the interface without necessarily providing any form of verification. And to us, the fact is that children or what you see cannot be unseen. So we cannot unsee what children watch or what they are confronted with when they are indulging on those platforms. So clearly, it poses a huge danger to young people. So as part of our NICENET November, which we theme making online safety a lifestyle, we thought the first point of call, owing to the fact that we are in a football season, should be to the Gaming Commission to start engaging their stakeholders, to reviewing their laws in order to meet the trends that we have now. We can all attest to the fact that young people as young as 12 and 14 are engaging on these platforms. We visit schools and they do say that, yes, they play the game because at least you will earn some money. That is not exciting to note. These children are not picking up the habit in random. They are watching we adults do it, and so they are also copying. But in order for the Gaming Commission to be helpful to the well-being of the future generation, it will be worth it if they put safeguards in place. The guardrails, some of them might not prove, but if it requires you to put in your age before you engage, it will be helpful. And now there are systems in place that could even verify a person before a person engages.
But if it's illegal, if it's illegal in our laws, why are we having a challenge simply cracking down on some of these activities? Should we be approaching it from the side of the operators or dealing with the minors who are involved in the act?
Yeah. Blessed, we cannot limit it to just the operators because it goes beyond the operators. The operators are more like intermediary between the commission and the end user. So clearly, it has to come from the design stage. So if the law, as we have it now, is what we want to adopt, then it means that it leaves out those who are online and only focusing on those who can walk into spaces or those who can be seen. But you and I will agree that policing mechanism when it comes to the digital space cannot be left to just the provider of the service. It must go beyond that. So how do we do that? That is why we need to put a stiffer system. For instance, I was talking about an application that could verify people's age. If it will even require you to upload your Ghana card to verify, it will do us a lot of good than exposing minors to this habits and they living with it and becoming bad people in society, and we, the very people who are giving them those access, will now be complaining about their behavior. So it's very, very important, and it's also necessary for the Gaming Commission to intensify their adverts. Anything which has to do with their platform should carry maybe they can adopt the cigarette approach and put it there that it's harmful to young people and all of that. Then we know that they are making an effort at engaging. But it's very, very necessary for even the legislature to sit down and take a second look at the law as we have it. Section 48, as you rightly read, does not take cognizance of the digital space. So clearly, that is a loophole or a gap which needs to be taken a second look at. So we are of the view that we don't want this year to become more like casual workers for Gaming Commission or any other gaming platform for that matter. And we don't want them to be people who are addicted to this kind of games which are not of their age. So clearly, we need to take that second look, and we are pleading with the Gaming Commission and the legislature and all those who matter in this regard to put in the measures and parents as much as possible to.
I was just about talking about the parents because they are the ones buying the devices for these children. The betting machines, quote unquote, have come closer to the children as in as much as we're trying to avoid it. So the issue about parental guidance, how critical is that in the fight against child betting?
Yeah, I think it's the first point of call when we want to talk about that, because clearly, yes, they are handing the devices to the children, and the fact that yeah, we agree some of them might not be conversant with the devices or what it can do. And these children are watching all manner of things and would even pick the URL from any platform that they are using in order to engage. It will be very appropriate and responsible on the part of parents to keep an eye on their children's devices. And if you are a parent who engages in betting, as much as possible, don't involve your child or don't let them imitate you to become nuisance in society.
Some of the parents are not too conversant with the devices themselves, so it goes without saying that they may not be able to effectively control. You agree?
Yes, I agree, and which is why this our campaign is ongoing. We are putting out information out there on all our socials as to how to be responsible citizens and how to engage responsibly. So parents can get to our socials on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram occasionally, and even visit our website, childonlineafrica.org, toolkits, and download necessary information that would help them curb some of these situations at home. And there's no point in getting scared that your child will be exposed to things and not having that friendly conversation with a child in order for him or her to live responsibly in the space. So it's everybody's responsibility, and we call on everyone, including the children themselves, to engage in order for us to create a better future and a better digital space.
The final issue would be about the economic challenges currently confronting us. Many say that betting has become a good means of making money. I'm yet to try that anyway. But of course, it's bringing lots of good results to those who are engaged in it. So it's perhaps the reason why we find more and more young people, including juveniles, entering into sports betting. Is that not a, good reason or a justifiable reason for which we should have some level of tolerance when we see children engaging in betting?
Blessed, the economic situation wouldn't stay with us forever. And I don't think you would want to have a truant or a recalcitrant child in future because of an economic condition that is lasting for a period. So clearly, we need to think beyond the situation we find ourselves in right now and look at the future of these young people, the kind of lifestyle we want them to uphold, and the kind of society we want to build, and take the necessary steps in ensuring that we put them in the right environment and we give them the right content. Just like I said earlier, we don't want the children to be people who even be in social gatherings and refusing to visit the washroom because they will have to leave their devices and end up peeing in the cup, in the paper. So clearly, it's our responsibility and a collective one at that. So we need to take charge and do what is expected of us as parents, as stakeholders, as developers, and what have you. Safety starts from the design stage before the end access to it.
Awoida Mamenya is the Executive Director for Child Online Africa. Thank you for joining us here on The Pulse. And as the economic conditions of Ghana worsens, every aspect of the economy is taking a beating, and workers are fighting of every move that will make them worse off. The latest people to raise their voice against that decision and decisions that reduce their purchasing power is the lotto operators and the lotto writers. The two groups have resisted plans by the National Lottery Authority to reduce their commission given to lotto writers across Ghana. In an exclusive interview on the sidelines of the press conference here in Accra, Gabriel Tanko Kwame, who is the Deputy General Secretary for the Ghana Lotto Operators Association, told JoyNews that the NLA has to take a relook at the decision.
In recent times, the NLA, that's the regulators of National Lottery in Ghana, apparently brought a directive that effective on the 14th of October, every writer of lottery is supposed to receive a 20%. Initially, they received 30%. So in view of that, Ghana Lotto Operators Association, together with private lotto operators, and then the concerned lotto agents and writers, we deem it fit that as players of the industry, it was imperative we meet up with all of these writers and then see how best we could sensitize them and then enforce the directive. So in view of that, we met them today, letting them know that there has been a change in the directive, meaning the 30% they used to receive is no more. Going forward, they are going to be receiving a 20%, and that didn't go down well with us. So basically, that is it. This is so unfortunate. I believe this is something the NLA should be telling us. Things are tough in recent times. Prices of goods are on the hike. And at this crucial time, it is imperative, at least, if for anything, their sort of commission should rather be on the up. But now we are bringing it to 20%.
So how does that affect your work and the business of lottery?
It's not going to go well, believe me. Let me give you a little example. Just imagine currently now in Ghana, look at how things are happening. And then you have been told that there's a pay cut unjustifiably. How are you going to take it? It's not going to go well for you. Okay, some of these writers, sometimes a day, they make us minute around 30, 40 cedis. And now 40 cedis, they're going to be losing around 10% and all have you. It's not good. So we are entreating the NLA to look at or revisit this position. Currently, as you speak, we have in excess of about 2 million people who are into lottery. Believe me, if you go around all over Ghana, amongst all the 16 regions, you have about 2 million people who are writing. And here lies the case, their commissions are being cut. So automatically, it's going to be unfortunate. The lottery industry is going on a downtrend.
So how do you then answer the question of this is a decision by the operators and not the NLA?
You and I know very well this can't be true. Like I said earlier, currently as in Ghana, at 722, clearly empowers the board of the NLA to come out with commissions. You understand? The NLA is the regulator of this business, ideally. So we, at the end of the day, are the end users. So whatever decisions that come, it comes from the NLA. So there is no way this could be coming from the operators, not at all. Of course, every operator would want to make sure his business grows. Here lies the case, you're having about, let's say, one operator having about, let's say, 2,000 writers. And here lies the case, you have dropped your commission to 20%. What is going to happen? If you have your colleague who is maybe offering more, they'll run to your colleague. So at the end of the day, it's not coming from the operators. This is a decision that had come from the NLA, stating clearly that on the 14th of October, this was taking effect.
Did the NLA give reasons why they want you to reduce the commission from 30% to 20%?
There have been no such reason, I recall. There have been no such reason. A letter had just come from the NLA informing the association that effective on the 14th of October, every writer or agent should be able to accept a 20%. That was a letter that came to us. And it was, in fact, it was equally added that if in case you fail to, as it were, adhere to this directive, your license will be revoked. And in view of that, I'm sure every operator will not want to sit and have his or her license revoked.
National Lottery Authority has been responding to these claims.
NLA has not done any reduction of commissions. What the NLA sought to do in a meeting that we had with leadership of the private lotto operators and clerk was to reiterate the point that the commission set by the board, which is the only body mandated by Act 722, the act that sets up the NLA, that gives the NLA the authorization to run lottery and regulate lottery, has set a 20% commission payment, which we ask the private lotto operators, because they basically pay the commissions, to comply. And it is because, you know, we have people who work for the private people, which we call them the private lotto operators, and we have our own lotto marketing companies, the LMCs. We pay 20% commission to the LMCs. And then so if we leave a market which people decide to pay a certain percentage of commission to themselves without complying with the law, without complying with the tenet of the law that gave them the authorization to operate, we thought that was unfair. And then so the meeting that we had, so if somebody puts a notice across that the NLA and some of the placards that I saw, Samia Uku, no go agree, reverse the commission from 30 to from 20 back to 30. Yeah, with the greatest of respect, we don't even know who set that 30% commission that they are asking us to reverse. If you're asking us to reverse, then it means that there was a certain commission being paid that we have gone down, that we are asking us to come back. We haven't set any commission. The last time the board sets commission payment in about that was about 5 years ago. The commission was 20%, and we're just telling the PLOs to comply with the commission set in the law, with the commission set in the licensing agreement that we signed last year.
But you just said you realized that there was this disparity between the private operators and your own marketing companies that work for you. So it means that initially the 30% for private operators was there, and you saw that the disparity.
So you see that in our bid to sanitize the system, we realized that some were doing, if you go to Kumasi, for example, I know that some were even advertising 45% commission. which in our setting, if we are doing proper lottery, it is not possible to cap your commission payment at anything more than 20%. So let me give you a breakdown. Per our business model at the NLA, we do, if for example you sell 100 cedis worth of lottery products a day, our estimation is that you peg your wins, between 50 to 60% of your daily sales. So let's say that, let's take the latter. You do 50% sales. You do 50% of your sales as your wins that you're going to pay out, your payout. If, for example, going by the argument, you pay 30% commission, that's 80%. How much are you going to use to service your machines, pay your staff, pay VAT, and other statutory payments to the GRA? It's not possible. So anybody who is doing lottery and is paying promising commission of 30%, 45%, 50% in some instances that we have seen, it's a worry to the regulator. And then so I would have to, you're even surprised to know that in the world, Ghana pays the highest commission. Our 20% commission is one of the highest in the world. How come even today, even the 30% that they were complaining about, some of them were even arguing that it should be 40%. It is not practicable for anybody operating lottery in the true sense of lottery to be paying commission of 30%.
Okay. So from which percentage was it that you brought it to 20?
Initially, it was 15 and was reviewed to 20%. And that is the position that we have. And yet the board has not done any revision since then. So
but how come these people are complaining now? Because this NLA has been at this for quite some time.
So we agree that there were some lapses in regulation, but the new leadership has taken it upon ourselves that we would have to find a way to sanitize the system, because that's how come we started with some of the measures to even give licensing to these private people, already known as banker-to-banker operators, who are operating without paying anything to government, who are operating without any authorization.
And let's take you to Parliament now. This afternoon, Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta's job is not the only one on the line. The minority in Parliament is standing the heat also on the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, who they say should resign or be sacked. Let's get more from Kweku Asante, who's joining us via Zoom now. Kweku, what's the latest and why is the minority mounting pressure for the BOG boss to leave office?
So, Blessed, according to Deputy Minority Ranking Member of the Finance Committee, Isaac Adongo, you look at the current rate of inflation, you look at the current rate of the depreciation of the cedi. This is exactly at the doorsteps of the Bank of Ghana Governor. And indeed, the calls for the sacking of the Finance Minister may not yield any results, even if Finance Minister is changed and the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, still remains at post. They've been laying aground a number of specific options that they say that the Bank of Ghana Governor, Dr. Ernest Addison, has been incompetent in his handling of fiscal matters and hence must go.
Let's listen to Dr. Isaac Adongo on that point, and then we'll deal with some other issues unfolding on the floor of the House.
How can Dr. Addison still be the governor of the central bank? I call on Dr. Addison as a matter of urgency to exit that office and give Ghana the chance to clear the mess that he has created. Part of the problem of the exchange rate emanating from this 70 billion is unto that even the central bank itself is competing with the economy for dollars. Dr. Addison, since you assumed office, has borrowed in excess of $7 billion on the balance sheet of the Bank of Ghana and thrown those dollars at the city. Today, Dr. Addison is in trouble to find the dollars to go and pay back those loans. Some he called them bridge finance, some he called them swaps, some he called them repurchase agreement. Today, Dr. Addison is in the market looking for dollars to pay up for his own mess. That is the problem. And Dr. Addison must be sacked. Otherwise, he must have the conscience to resign as the governor of the central bank. Part of the mess that he has created in an attempt to recall those 70 billion back to the banking sector and back to the Bank of Ghana, he has had to consistently increase the policy rates. That's the only way he can recall the money. He must attract those monies back from people's homes. And so every now and then, Dr. Addison increases the policy rate just so the 70 billion can come back home. To the extent that now the government borrows on 91 days at 34%. If you're a blue chip company like Unilever, you need to pay a premium to access a loan from the bank. That will not be less than 40 billion. If you're a Kokumenu enterprise, then you should be looking at 50% to be able to borrow from the bank. Again, Dr. Addison is a key architect that is collapsing our businesses and squeezing credit to the private sector. To the extent that you now need to have a miraculous business that can give you 150% profits, so you can pay the 50% the banks are demanding and still pay your expenses and have something left. I don't know the type of legal business in Ghana that can give you that. Even the other illegal businesses, they are shrouded in secrecy, so we can't even tell the margins. But Dr. Addison is the cause of this. So Dr. Addison must go. If Dr. Addison does not go, I assure you, the effort to sack who and to remove who would come to nothing.
And let's get more from Kweku. So, Kweku, there's more developments in the House. What can you report?
So it's been a busy day in the House. There have been allegations from the minority that government is training mercenaries to foment trouble ahead of the 2024 election. They've not been providing specific evidence except to cite online journalist Kevin Taylor, who they say has engaged in this expose, exposing government's efforts to cause trouble in the 2024 election. They say these mercenaries are now being trained in the Situari forest, and so they want some independent investigations to happen to establish that the root cause and also the full facts of the issue. They've also been alleging that the security agencies have now been politicized to the extent that morale is down in the barracks, and the police and military men in the country are not very happy about how promotions and other things are being handled. But there's been a swift response from government, first from the defense minister, Dominic Little, who flatly denied the allegations and accusations that government is out there training mercenaries to cause trouble in the 2024 election. They say nothing of that sort is happening, and that is simply, quote and unquote, yellow journalism that is being engaged by Kevin Taylor, and that he has no evidence, no shred of evidence to back the specific allegations. Underscore having to do with the professionalism of the various security agencies and whether or not there is morale in the various barracks, and whether or not the government is packing these security agencies with party loyalists. Interior Minister Ambrose Derry has also been responded and has been parrying away the suggestions. He said that morale is very much high on the various barracks, and that the President Akufo-Addo's government has always ensured and striving to ensure that the security agencies get all that they need, and that meritocracy is the order of the day in terms of the people who get to be promoted and those who get to be recruited at all into the security services.
So let me just get some clarity on that. Is the Interior Minister fighting off claims that there's some sort of disaffection within the ranks of the police service or the armed forces as well?
Yeah, indeed, it was the allegations of James Agaga that because of some promotion issues, some recruitment that were being done into the security services, morale was down. The men and women in the police, military, and other security agencies were not very happy with how things were panning out, and so morale was down. But the Interior Minister says nothing of that sort is happening. Indeed, the Defense Minister himself also responded to those specific allegations, and he said that these are just a figment of someone's imagination. They do not reflect reality. That as far as government is concerned, the people in the police, the military, and other security agencies are very much high on morale and are there working to the betterment of the society.
Is this matter likely to feature on the floor of Parliament?
Well, indeed, in the coming days, it's expected that it to come to the floor because the minority are demanding some independent investigations into the matter. And it's not clear if government will give in to that demand. Clearly, from what we've heard from the defense and interior ministers, they are not very much open to that idea. And so it's left to be seen if a motion may be filed in the House or an urgent question will be filed in the House for the minister to come and respond and provide some specific details. it is not far-fetched that in the coming weeks it will come. But the other downside to this is that this is the budget sitting. From next week, a lot of things in Parliament will be dominated by matters around the 2023 budget. And so there will be not much room to be able to discuss all of these things. And so the minority are able to put this on the floor. They must do so this week or the next.
Because parliamentary correspondent joining us. We'll return shortly. And you're welcome back. The 2022 Intermines First Aid and Safety Competition, as has been the norm, is designed to educate mine workers, host communities and the citizenry on basic first aid tips, as well as to promote basic safety measures. The competition seeks to underline the importance of safety protocols by the mining companies, as well as to educate the public on personal health, first aid, and safety practices. The zonal competition have been held, and the winners will now progress to the national competition on Sunday, the 6th of November, 2022. The grand finale was held. Goldfields Ghana Takwa Mine emerged winners after competing with Gold Star Wasa's Resources, Persis Mining Ghana Limited, and the Ghana Manganese Company Limited. Goldfields Ghana Takwa Mine presented all-females first aid team at both the zonal and national level. There they won the zonal stage and then progressed to the finals, where they won again. This actually goes to promote women in mining, and it is the first time an all-female team represented a mine and won the competition. So let's hear from the team. Of course, Marco is joining us. Ejiri is a member of the team. Nana Amwa Aban Mensa is team captain. We also have Eunice Ahinefoa and a host of others who are joining us. I need to say congratulations, first of all, to the team. But how are you all feeling now, knowing that you are champions?
Okay, we are very happy for this victory. Okay, but first of all, I'd like to express my gratitude to God for giving us, for his guidance throughout the training, and also for giving us this victory. I would also like to express my gratitude and appreciation to the General Manager of Goldfields Takwa Mine, that's Mr. Steve Osei Bempa, the Health and Safety Manager, Mr. Steve Boama, and then all other individuals who supported us throughout the training. In fact, it's the first time the mine has used all-female team, and it's also the first time in over the past about 20 years we won this competition. In fact, a journey like this, you need total discipline. The team was very disciplined, they were committed, and also through hard working, that led us to this victory. I have with me here my team captain, Nana Moa Abanmensa, and then Eunice Ahinefoa. So I also want them to give out their views about this journey so far.
Okay. On my side, proceeding to the competition, and then it was in twofold. That's the practical aspect and then the oral aspect. And by the grace of God, we were able to emerge as the winners. We were one of the winners in the zonals. So we progressed to the nationals to compete with the other winners from the zonals. And then God being so good and fortunately, we were able to be the winners. And then it's the first time ever for a female team to compete and then to win the nationals. So I thank the Almighty God firstly for sailing us through the competition. And then I thank our management and then our loved ones, everyone who supported us. It has been God since from day one till now. So I'll proceed to my team. So I think we've touched on a lot on the competition, the background, and how we feel as a team concerning the win we have now. What it means to us as women in a male-dominated environment is that women also have the ability to do well in everything. I mean, in a mind where we are promoting diversity and inclusion, and we are also promoting women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, even in the whole country and even in the whole world. It means a lot to us that an all-female team was presented for the first time ever in the history of this competition. And for the first time, we were the one who took the trophy. It sets an example. It sets the pace for all other women who look up to us and who have no hope in women in mining and in engineering or in science, that they can also do it. And it means a lot to us.
We look forward to the future. Obviously, the idea is to keep the awareness on. I'm just wondering what you intend to do with your campaign, taking it to average citizen out there. What do you intend to do in the coming days to promote the education and awareness?
Okay, so as I said, Goldfields as a company is actually doing a lot in relation to women. We are trying to bridge the gap between women and then men in mining. So we are opening up, we have a lot of openings that always specify that women are encouraged to apply for such jobs so that we will have a good representation of females in our environment, to encourage women to do well. We are currently training a lot of women in things. Even in our host communities, we are training women to take up male roles. For example, there's a current training program that makes women are learning how to do welding and stuff like that men were doing in the past. We also have a lot of women taking up roles like loader operators, things that men were doing. We are now encouraging women to do this, and the company has gone further to provide training programs for women to be involved in such things. So that is how we are including women in our mining.
So finally, as a team, what message do you have for the public out there?
Finally, as a team, we are very happy for this victory. And then we finally say a big thank you to all others who supported us throughout the training. And then we were well motivated as a team. We were well motivated, and I think that led us to this victory. So I say a big thank you to all the management board of Goldfields Tapa Mine, and then all other individuals who supported us throughout the journey.
Okay, we would also want to thank the Regional Executive Committee of Goldfields West Africa, led by Mr. Joshua Mutoti, who is the Executive Vice President and the Head of HR and Head of West Africa. I want to thank him so much for the support we've gotten throughout. We had a lot of backing from management. We thank all the women in mining who supported us, especially in Tapa and Daman, and even from the region. We had a lot of them coming around to support us, encourage us, to make us know that we can actually do it. And throughout our preparation, we had a lot of encouragement, which has also brought us this far. So I want to thank all of them. We thank our General Manager, Mr. Osebempa, for embracing this vision that women could do what men have been doing. And we want to thank our Safety Manager. And what the advice we want to give to the public is that we are in an era where women can do everything. I don't think anyone should discourage any child or any female child for taking up a male role. For example, we have women here who are into welding and fabrication, but sometimes in our culture, women will be discouraged from taking up such roles. Right now, we are encouraging women to take up the roles of men. And I think that if children or the youth are trying to take up such roles, we should not discourage them. And when they come into the mining environment, they will be encouraged and they will be motivated. So we should not fear to take up challenges as women. Thank you.
an important call to be making, but well, we wish you all the best, and the celebration is on. Probably the team here will try and join you as you celebrate that victory. But of course, to the Goldfields Takwa Mine, we say a big congratulations. And that's where we draw the curtains on the polls here on the Joy News channel. And bless us, Sogah. Don't forget to log on to myjoyonline.com. We have updates on our stories there for you. Next is Let's Talk Showbiz.